Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brendan here from Mission Driven Ventures, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about nothing. Really nothing, because business right now is very boring. So I've been talking about on this channel about different real estate adventures that we're on, about Turo, especially my Turo videos are going really well. And I just want to give an update about why I haven't really been making a lot of content lately. Partly I'm just busy, and so I'm trying to find time to do this with a low energy. I'm not the best editor, and so if I want to put out content, I just got to forego the editing process and give it to you straight, give it to you raw, which is what I'm going to be doing in this video and future videos. But to be honest with you, aside from being busy, there's just not a lot to update. And I think that's a good thing. And I'm going to talk today in this video about 3 reasons why business should be boring. And take that with a grain of salt. I don't mean that all the way, but I'm using it as a framework to think about, what do you do when things are boring? And so the first thing I want to cover is when you start a business, there's this difference between your starting energy and your sustaining energy. Most of us, if we are entrepreneurs, if we're looking into starting businesses and side hustles, we probably have a lot of that startup energy in us. And with that comes a lot of passion, a lot of excitement. You're probably curious. You like to learn new things. And then if you're like me, once you figure it out, it gets boring. But this is where that sustaining energy comes in. And honestly, that sustaining energy is where the money is actually made. It's easy to start stuff because that passion kind of pushes you up the hill a bit. But then when it starts to become a grind, it just becomes a chore. And that's really the second thing here, is that boring leads to it becoming kind of a chore. And for folks that are maybe a little bit earlier on in their journey, they just don't have the grit necessary to persevere in the midst of a boring job. I actually think this is where business processes and systems come in, is that if you can create and focus on creating processes and systems to facilitate the things that you don't want to do, you can actually get through the boring quite easily. And so, for example, with my Turo business, I absolutely don't like doing all the chores with the car. I don't like having to go to the car wash or do the oil changes with the car. It's something you have to do anyways, but I don't like doing it. I also don't really love doing the back and forth communication with the guests. And so luckily Turo has tools for you. You can set up automated messaging. You can, all the things like, scheduling your car maintenance and your car washes. There's ways to automate that as a system. So for me, the car wash, I go and do that because it takes 5 minutes. But for like the maintenance, you can get that scheduled to make it convenient for your life. And there are ways to set up systems and processes to make the boring less of a chore. But my third point that I want to end with is that boring is just kind of where the money is. A lot of us, we like to start businesses because we think that it's fun and it's exciting and we put a lot of energy into something, but boring is where you make the money. So, you don't make the money by making the listing and taking the pictures of your car and putting it up on Turo and going to Walmart and buying all the stuff because you're dreaming about what the business could be in the future. That's fun, but that's actually not making you money. What's making you money is when people rent the car and you communicate with them, and then you wash and maintain the car so that the next person can do it. And so I just want to give like a PSA out there to all of you guys that are running these small businesses, side hustles, or starting your own thing. If it's boring, I want to challenge you to persevere. If it's boring, use the time to figure out how to improve processes so that over time it makes money for you and it becomes less of a chore, and because you've built a business system. That way it continue to cash flow for you. So that's all I got in this video. Although I did get a new car, so I'm using it on Turo and it's a much better fit for what we're doing. So I guess that's new, but the process hasn't really changed. It's mostly just been boring. So for all of the entrepreneurs out there that it's getting boring for you, keep it up. This too shall pass, and it's one of the rites of passage. So have a good one.